friends, happy Monday and welcome to Marketing Advice Monday, where today we are talking about the proven formula for a homepage that gets clients. While we wait for people to all kind of trickle in here, if this is your first time joining live with me, my name is Anna Walker. I am a marketing and web strategist who works with private practitioners just like you to get booked out with clients you love and who love you. We talk a lot about websites in this group, and for good reason. Your website is your number one marketing tool. Hey, Tiffany, thank you so much for joining. If you are joining me live, please say hello in the comments. I love to get to chat with you guys. If you have any questions as we're working through everything, please don't hesitate to pop them in the comments. I'll revisit them before we sign off here at the end. If you're catching this as a replay, drop a hashtag replay into the comments to make sure I can see any questions you may have. We can continue conversing even if you're catching this maybe later in the week. So it looks like we have a couple people in here. Thank you so much for being here. I love Marketing Advice Monday, an opportunity to dive in a little bit more depth into some of the biggest questions around marketing for private practices. The reason that this group exists, the reason hopefully you're in this group, is because I want to help you as a private practitioner harness the marketing strategies that all the other companies in the world are using. I do the work that I do because I realized that you as private practitioners, for some reason, don't have access right now to modern marketing methods. And I want you to, because they are powerful and they are the way that your clients expect to be marketed to today. We are past the time where you can just leave your your business card in a coffee shop and expect to get booked out, right? We have to be online. We have to be thinking in a modern way, because your clients, while yes, they are looking for a therapist, they're also being marketed to everywhere they go for toothpaste and shoes and dating sites and the grocery stores that they shop at, all those kinds of things. So we have to really think about the experience that we are providing your ideal clients as they search for a therapist. That is why this group exists, because I, as an experienced career marketer, want to hand over those strategies in a way that's tailored to you. Because a lot of what you do is nuanced. There's a lot that's special and unique about being a private practitioner. I want to bring those two together and help you get booked out. That is why this group exists, and that is what today is all about as well. I am going to bring you a formula that I have seen work in various other industries that I have tailored directly to you. It's the exact formula I use when working one-on-one with my own clients, and I want to hand it over to you today. So before I jump in, let me actually drop a link to the worksheet, which I developed for this live, into the comments, because I want you to be able to follow along. I want you to be able to take notes and really get the most out of this session. Like I was just saying before, and like you probably know, your website is your number one marketing tool as a private practitioner. If you have a strong website, you are set up for success for the rest of your career. Everything else that you do as it relates to marketing in your private practice can center around this engine, this true 24/7 always on engine that is your website. So if your website is your number one marketing tool, your website homepage is the number one most important marketing asset you have out there. Your website homepage is the most important page of your website. And today I want to walk you through exactly what you need to do in order to actually have an effective one. Because it's not as simple as just throwing up the name of your practice, maybe your logo, your phone number, and maybe a link to your services page. It's not that simple. If we're going to take people, if we're going to take your ideal clients on the journey that they need in order to decide that you're the therapist for them. Before we jump into that, let's make sure we have an understanding of what this journey is as a whole. We've talked about this a lot. If you've hung around this group for a while, you know that there's a client journey, and there are 3 stages that your client has to get through in order to decide to work with you. So when they realize that they have a problem in their own life, but they are just starting out to look for a therapist, they are unaware of you. They're aware of their problem, but they're unaware of you. They have no idea that you exist. Then through Google or Psychology Today or paid ads or a discussion with their doctor, whatever that may be, they become aware of you. That's our next stage. We go from unaware to aware. So now they know your name. But obviously, just because they know your name does not mean they know that you are the therapist for them. We have to get them from being aware of you to being sure of you. Your website has the power to get people from aware to sure. You don't need any other method in there. You don't have to blog. You don't have to be on social media. If you can have a really effective website, that can be the tool that does that for you and that closes the deal and gets them to that final stage. So with an understanding of what that journey is and what our ideal client needs from us when they land on their website, on your website, they need to go from just knowing your name to knowing that you're actually the therapist for them. Let's dive in. So your website homepage, someone has identified a need in their own life. Say you are a grief counselor. They have just gone through the death of their husband, their widow, and they know that they need some help. So they have identified this need in their own life. They found you, we'll say, through Psychology Today, and they land on your website for the very first time. Your website mainly has to communicate two key things to someone when they land on your website. It needs to communicate, I understand you, and I know how to help solve your problems. If we can say both of those things, if we can reinforce both of those things everywhere on your website, we will have a successful website. So how do we do that on your homepage? There are 6 key sections of an effective homepage. And if you're watching, I want you to go ahead and hop into that link. If you're watching on your desktop, if you're watching on your mobile, you will have to lose the video in order to load the document. So maybe come back and grab that link when you have a chance to open up your laptop. But what that workbook is an outline of all 6 of these key sections that we're going to walk through today that you need to have on your homepage in order to be effective. So the very first one, we call that the hero of your homepage. You are familiar with the hero. It is the very first thing that loads when you open up your website. Oftentimes it's a big picture, or maybe it's a headshot or whatever that may be. What's important here are the words that you're using in this space. Do not waste this saying the name of your practice. Do not waste this saying anything else other than what you do and who you serve. And the 2 ways to do that are to combine a practice promise and a descriptor statement. So a practice promise is something we've, of course, also talked a ton about in this group. A practice promise is a single statement about who you serve and the results that you provide them. An example of a private practice formula that you could think about if you're writing up your own private practice would be helping you benefit so you can result, helping you navigate grief so you can see the light again, whatever that may be. So that's a really good formula. Another one you might want to think about, I help population, the people that you serve, result, overcome grief. Like, this is a place to not be cutesy, to not be kitschy. We want to be super, super clear about what it is that you do and the kind of results that people experience as a result of working with you. So that is going to be that big, large statement in your hero of your homepage, that very first section. And below that, we're going to have what's called a descriptor statement. And it is exactly that. It is a crystal clear description of what you do. My favorite formula for that is specialty for population in city, grief counselor for women and children in Nashville, Tennessee. That would be my descriptor statement. So when you load up my homepage for the very first time, you're going to see my practice promise. You're going to see my descriptor. And finally, in that area, I want you to have a button. And I want that button to be your main call to action. I'm going to talk about calls to action a couple times throughout this formula, but your call to action is the number one thing you want someone to do when they decide they're ready to work with you. This should not be contact me. This should not be learn more or get started. This should be super, super, super descriptive. I want something like schedule a free 10-minute consultation or book your free first appointment. Whatever it is that you offer someone, even if it's just a quick phone call when they decide that they'd like to learn more about you, that's what I want you to have here. We want them to feel really comfortable knowing when they click that button, they know exactly what's on the other side, and that it's going to give them what they need and answer the questions that are in their mind. So you land on my homepage for the very first time, practice promise, descriptor, call to action. Now you have set up the journey that your ideal client needs to take on your website. The reason this is so impactful is because your practice promise speaks directly to your ideal client and tells them the results that you are capable of, the results that they are needing. If I'm a grieving widow, I immediately land on this website and I know she gets me. She's an expert in what I'm experiencing right now. I need to work with her. I want to learn more, right? I know she's in my city. I know she works with my age group, and I know she's an expert in grief. Check, 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 move on. So the next section number 2, is where we're going to exhibit empathy. This is the place where you communicate, I understand you, which, like we talked about, is one of those key things that your website has to communicate. A really easy way to exhibit empathy is to ask kind of a probing question, like, does this sound familiar? And then bullet out some of the examples and circumstances that your ideal client is in right now. Are you struggling to get out of bed every morning because the grief is too hard? Does it feel like you'll never have a new normal ever again? These kinds of things like that, once you bullet out, I would suggest 3 to 4 bullets. Those are what show, okay, yes, oh my gosh, she gets me. She knows exactly what I'm experiencing. It helps your ideal client literally see themselves on the page and know, like in their heart, that you understand them. So you can go immediately from exhibiting empathy in this section to beginning to introduce yourself. It's where you can say, hi, I'm Anna. I'm a grief counselor in Nashville, Tennessee, who has 30 years of experience working with women just like you. As a widow myself, I know that the season you're in is very, very challenging, and I want to come alongside you on your path to healing. All of a sudden, you have said, I understand you. I'm an expert in solving your problems, and here's what you can do to work with me, right? So following that, I'd love a button to your About page. Surprisingly, your About page is usually the second most visited page of your website. It's not your specialty pages, it's not your contact page, it's your About page. So lead people there. That is the page where you should be introducing yourself and talking about the results that you provide and what it's like to work with you and those kinds of things. But in this section, after our hero, we're exhibiting empathy, and then we're immediately introducing ourselves. A really good thing to include here is a strong headshot with good eye contact where you look friendly and approachable and exactly how you would want to be if you were sitting across from them, right? You want to create an experience where they feel like they're getting to actually connect with you. I always recommend that there be a headshot on your homepage, and this is a great place to do that. So that's our second section. Then our third section, this is when we get into specialties. Usually, as a private practitioner, you have 2 to 3 different specialties. You might do individual therapy, couples therapy, and group therapy. You might have, counseling or therapy for anxiety and depression. Whatever that is, you want to divide your specialties up into however your ideal client would think about them. So they might not be thinking, I want EMDR therapy. They might be thinking, I need therapy for trauma. That's how you want to talk about your specialties. So in this next section, I want you to divide it up into the number of specialties that you have. Maybe have a little image or something like that correlates with that specialty, and then a short sentence about what it is that you do for that individual specialty. So if I'm a grief counselor and I work with women and children, then I might do women's grief counseling, and that's where I can talk about overcoming the loss of children, and spouses can be overwhelming. I come alongside women of all ages to navigate this season. Children, you would talk a little bit more about I can speak the language of children as they navigate grief and help them be able to communicate to their parents in a more efficient way and find healing. That's where you can start to get a little bit more specific about the things that you do. Because at the very top, your practice promise, right? That is an overarching statement about everything that you do. Your specialties are where you can start to dial it in a little bit, focus in so that someone can be like, okay, yes, so she gets me. Women's counseling, click into women's counseling and continue down that journey that they need to be brought on. So specialties, that is the third section of your homepage. We are halfway there. Next up is process. This is something I don't see on enough homepages, and it's so simple and so powerful. Let me talk you through this one. When someone decides that they want to go to therapy, that they're ready to take this step, because it is a big step, especially if your ideal client is someone who has not been to therapy before, they're nervous. They are nervous about taking this step. They are obviously already feeling some kind of anxiety or issue in themselves that's leading them there. They need the questions that are in their mind to be answered. They want to be comforted, right, in this time that they're in as they're looking for a therapist. A really simple way you can do that is by saying, hey, here's how therapy works. 1, 2, 3. 1, schedule your free consultation. number one should always mirror what that call to action is. It says, hey, take this first step, just one quick, easy first step. So schedule your free consultation. Then maybe you usually meet with people for 10 to 12 sessions, or maybe you don't have a certain time limit, but you are an experiential therapist and therefore your sessions are that way. Whatever that may be. Number two should be related to that. So join me for 10 to 12 sessions where we walk through and talk through the grief that you're experiencing and the tools you need to overcome your hard days. That was number two. Just meet with me. Come be with me for 10 to 12 sessions. Number three, the last step in your process should always be about that end result. If I'm a widow, I'm never going to get my husband back, but I do want to find a new normal and I want to feel peace and hope about the future. That is what number three is. Find peace and hope for the future. You know, have the tools you need to navigate the hard days and learn to enjoy the good ones again. That's your process. If I am really concerned about going to therapy for the first time and I see a section where it's like, oh, it's not that complicated. I just need to start here and then I'll join her here and then I can get to where I need to go. You have done something so powerful by showing them that you get them and that it's easy to get there. Of course, there's a lot of hard work in there. It's not to say that the work you do is simple, but it is about simplifying it and boiling it down into a way that really, really resonates with your ideal client. Okay, so process. And that should, of course, include that call to action, a button that is schedule your free consultation, book your free first appointment, whatever you decided that one should be. All right, last two. Last but not least, a transformation section. This is really, really short. This is 1 to 2 sentences where you just reinforce what you're talking about. When we as people make decisions, especially when it comes to decisions with our money, studies show that we're actually making decisions because we are motivated by being a better version of ourselves. Now that seems silly, like I just buy laundry detergent. But laundry detergent, if you notice, is actually marketing to you that you'll be prettier if you buy this fabric because it makes your clothes look better and you do better on dates and you have a better sex life. These things, even the simplest things in our lives are actually selling to us on a really, really fundamental level. Now, if you think about the type of person, the transformation that your ideal client wants to go through in order to, after working with you, that is what you can speak to here. So again, if we're using the example of a widow, the person that I want to be after working with a grief counselor, if I am the widow, I want to be a more at peace, hopeful and happy person than I am right now. That's exactly what you can say in this last section. So this is just 1 to 2 statements. Maybe you say something like, you don't have to keep blank. Relief is within reach. Call to action. Schedule your free consultation. It's basically closing the case that you have just created on this journey down the page. You've said, hey, I understand you. I know how to help solve your problems. Here's who I am. Here's what I offer. Here's how it works. Relief is within reach. It's kind of stretching a hand out and say, hey, join me. This is all that I can do for you. Let's do it. It's kind of where you just close that case. And so I want you to think about what your transformation statement could be. This is 1 to 2 sentences where you just kind of finish it off. You tie it in a bow and you say, if this is the type of person that you want to be after therapy, I can help you get there. Now, the very last one, and I actually don't think it's on your worksheet, so this is a bonus for you sticking through this Marketing Advice Monday with me, is your footer. Now, everything that we've talked about on your homepage so far has been related to the journey that your client needs to go on. Your footer is actually most important for SEO. Now, we've talked about SEO a lot of times in this group. There should be SEO best practices woven into everything that I've just talked about on your homepage. But when it comes to your footer, I need 3 things to be there, and it's super, super simple no matter where your website is built. GoDaddy, Squarespace, WordPress, it doesn't matter. In the footer of your homepage, you need to have your name, your address, and your phone number. These 3 things need to be exactly the same everywhere across the internet. If you call your website you call your practice Anna's Grief Counseling on Facebook, but then you call it Anna's Grief Counseling LLC on your website, you're actually telling Google that you're 2 different things. Google doesn't like that. Google likes you to have as many connections as possible. So if you can make sure that your name, your address, and your phone number are exactly the same down to the suite number, in every single location on your website, or on the internet, your Google Your Business, Facebook, Instagram, Bing, Yelp, wherever you are listed, make sure it's exactly the same, and then make sure it's there in the footer of your homepage. It'll be replicated into the footer of all the rest of your web pages, which again helps Google see that you're connected and therefore continue to rank you higher. So that footer is super, super important. Okay, we are just at the 20-minute mark, and I have walked you through the 6 sections that are critical to having a homepage that works. This is a formula that I have seen work for my own clients time and time again. I have seen it work for various other companies out there in the world. This is what I'm handing over to you after seeing it work. And if you put it into action, I guarantee that you will begin to see results, because the minute someone lands on your homepage, they'll be able to see, she understands me, he understands me, and they know how to solve my problems. And if you can communicate those 2 things, you will have a website that does more than any other pretty designed or, well marketed or SEO optimized site can do, because it comes down to connection. And that is one thing that you as a therapist are good at. So harness that in your homepage, harness that in your website, and watch how the results roll in. All right, let me make sure we don't have any questions here. Awesome. We had a lot of great people join. Excellent. I don't see any questions here. Of course, if you have any as you're maybe listening to this again and working through the workbook, just drop them in here. I would be happy to discuss with you. If you want someone to take a look at your website, I would love to take a look and give you a few pointers on your homepage. But when it comes down to it, follow this formula. If you have any questions about anything I said, make sure you get crystal clear on it. Ask me so that I can clarify, so that you can have a website that gets you clients, that lives out there and acts like that 24/7 always on engine that's working to get you clients all the time. I'm cheering for you, and I can't wait to come back next week for Marketing Advice Monday. Talk to you soon.